Okay, it's the basic setup for doing a standard mix. Song's called Mission. I've already set up a blank song. Basically, create an empty song, then go to your browser and just drag and drop all the WAV files straight in and bring them back to the 0 point. Now, what I'm doing here is I create folders for groups of instruments. So I'll start here. Even this only has one instrument, the B3. I've called that keys. And then what was that next one? That was the bass guitar, the bass amp, and the bass DI. These are all the claps. So basically, it's you select them, you go claps folder, and then I title them with capital letters so that you can see that it's a group. These are background vocals where he says "Hey." I'm called BGV. I'm just moving that floor tom down a little bit, and then I'm just using the command or control and clicking. You can select individual tracks. Once you've got all the ones selected, right click, pack folder, and these will be the drums. Now these are all the electric guitars. That's the Les Paul, that's the guitar solo. I think he's got a Telly and a few others there. So again, pack folder, and I call them electrics. Tambourine I've put up into percussion with the claps, and then the vocals are now on their own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7 folders. So I just order them. I usually have the drums at the top, then bass, then the guitars, and then keys, percussion, and vocals normally at the bottom. Just got to be careful you don't drop them inside another folder. So just put them between folders. Now I've just selected them all and just make them a little larger here, and then I color them. Drums are always red in my mixes. Bass guitars are always green. Guitars are always blue. Keys are always purple or pink. I've got the percussion as a brown. Background vocals are more of a purple. And lead vocals are always yellow. So underneath that, each of the individual tracks will all be the same color. Now what I'm doing here is if you hit that little down arrow and you assign each of those folders to be an actual bus. So now the folder is a track, and it's a bus for all of the tracks that are sitting underneath it. So now I have 7 buses, and now inside the drum bus I like to go kick, snare, tom, rack tom, hats, overheads, and rooms last. Just the preference that I have. And I just drag those to the various spots. Now I go to my mixer, and there's my subgroups already set up. Now what I do here is I add a bus channel, and I route all of those subgroups to what I call a mix, which is just something I use prior to the main output. So I put all of my mix effects, global effects on this bus, and then I route that to the mains. Also building a couple of effects channels here. I'll put a reverb and a delay, a slapback delay, just to have them there, even though we may not use them. And they normally sit at the end there. Just grab the mix verb, which is a very basic, simple verb, easy to use, and it gives you a starting point. Another one here. I think I call this a slapback, and I'll put an analog delay on there. Usually run that around about 100 milliseconds. If the song is timed to a tempo, to the grid, you can synchronize that using 1/8 notes or 16th or something that time it exactly to the beat, but this one isn't. I've just received these files. Also add another bass and I call this all effects. So what I do is I'm able to turn on or off all of the effects in one foul swoop. Actually, that all effects should be routed to the main mix, and then it should go to mains. I'll have to correct that. Now if you select all of the track or the folder tracks or the buses there, and you can go expand envelopes, it will expand them all out. Then you can hit that wide arrow that gives you the wide mixer. Then the other one there gives you the tall mixer, which allows you then to insert some effects. Now all I'm doing here is just inserting a mix tool on every channel, and that's just a starting point to assist with gain staging, which we'll cover in the next one. But basically I add mix tool to the bus, then I select all the other tracks and then drag it across, and it should place that in every one. That allows you to use a phase invert if you need to, or adjust the gain of the track without actually going to the clip itself. And then you can collapse all tracks using the track pane view. So I think that's just about it. Oh, a couple of things I do on the main output. I only ever really process the main output with a spectrum analyzer, which allows us to look at what's going on. And then I always put a limiter post fader, which is a catch-all limiter. I think that's about it. That's ready to go. Ready for gain staging and editing. One thing I do here, just as a habit, I make all of my tracks, starting point for the tracks to be minus 6 dB, so they're not all sitting at 0. You can't do the effects channels like that, so I'm doing them manually now, just going minus 6. So obviously nothing processed here. This is just all the tracks as received at minus 6 on the faders. Now the subgroup fader is to the left of all of the individual tracks, so it's a folder. So when you open it, the master is on the left and all the tracks underneath it are on the right. This is asking me if I want to recopy those into the media folder, and I don't. Other than that, I'm saving it and we're done. So about 10 minutes, you're set up. Catch you next time.